Welcome to the Weigh In Podcast, your prescription for a healthier life, where wellness is more than just a number on a scale. We'll dive deep into not just weight loss, but the medical, emotional, and lifestyle aspects of well-being.
In each episode, we'll weigh in on hot topics ranging from diet myths and exercise trends to mental health and chronic disease management, providing you with the evidence-based advice to guide your health decisions. Remember, it's not just about the weight on the scale, but about creating a healthier, more balanced you. Hey girl, how are you?
Hey, I feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
It has been a while since we've recorded, so I think that was
never in this country ever.
I know. Believe me, I'm glad to be back for at least a couple more months. So it's been a crazy year, just crazy. Good things, but crazy.
Yeah. I was like, you need to figure out what Serena does for work-life balance, because she stays on a trip, which I love for you, and I also love for you and your husband, because you guys are newly married. It's exactly what you should be doing as a newly married couple. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And for listeners who don't know, I went back to the Philippines for the second time this year. The first trip was for family. It was my aunt's 80th birthday. So that was really special. And then the second trip was for a friend's wedding, and she had told us 2 years prior. So it was already planned. So it just happened to be that my aunt's birthday party was this year too. So, yeah, this time around, I was able to do some island hopping with a friend who had been wanting to go. So my friend and I, Amelia, she was actually our first guest. She went zero with me. Sorry, go ahead.
So she's like guest zero.
Yeah. Yeah, our first guest and my first patient. So we had gone together to the Philippines, did some island hopping, and really loved it. The beaches were just so warm, and the water was calm, and I had never spent so much time in the ocean because I can't swim that well. But life vests are really great investment, so that helped out. And then she was with me for 9 days. She had went back home and then tag teamed with my husband who came in. So my husband and I spent the rest of the week also going to a different island in Cebu. And then we went back to Manila for the wedding. So yeah, that is all my traveling I'm doing internationally, at least for this year.
I saw a lot of ocean pics.
Yes, we got really lucky with the weather because it's island weather can be up and down. So it did rain a little bit, but only for maybe 20 minutes at most throughout the day. So otherwise it was just really nice and sunny, and it was so good. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you must love the travel bug, because I saw in our group chat, you were like, oh, where was the conference? Was this somewhere cool? You were like, oh, guys, what about this conference? And I forget what a conference was, because as you know, my family had the plague all week, i.e.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't focused on the convo, but where was it that you were talking about?
So it's called Destination Education. It happened to be at Disneyland. And I was like, oh, they have a conference here? So I just went on the website, and they have conferences in other places. So I think they have one coming in March in Lake Tahoe in California, and then another one later in the year in Costa Rica. So I was like, oh, that looks really cool. So I was just throwing it out there.
I didn't ask at all about the content. I was just like, oh, where is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
our MO, because last year we went to Vegas for a conference, and we definitely had fun Vegasing, in addition to learning.
Right. All about double dipping if you can. Traveling for work is always fun,
Yep.
So
very, very true. So I'm so glad that you've been traveling and having fun, even though I missed you.
I missed you too.
You really gotta go to her wedding. Is she really your friend? And you were like, yes, she's my friend, and we've had it planned for 2 years. I'm like, okay.
I will say that I'll probably be one of the last international destination weddings, because I'm just over traveling far like that again. So
yeah, because that's not
done. But
that's a little quick trip to Mexico.
Anyways, Halloween is coming up, so I wanted to ask you what your plans were, because you got your. I'm not sure if Elijah's into Halloween anymore. He's probably over it because he's a grown up now. But what is Max wanting to do? What does he want to dress up as?
Oh, yeah. So Maxie's very into Halloween. He is going to be a transformer. I usually dress up as well. I'm torn between being a princess and being the Wicked Witch of the West. Um, I'm torn. I don't know. I don't like how her nose. How I don't want to have that ugly witch nose, and I don't want to be green.
Mm.
But it is
Hmm.
an easy costume to do. So anyway, he's gonna do that. And the big boy, as you just hit the nail on the head, he's way, way, way too cool to do that. Although every now and then, last minute, he'll be like, "Oh, never mind. There's a get together, mom. Help me come up with a costume."
Oh,
So who knows? I need to ask him because, as you know, Elijah's ridiculously tall, so he's not somebody
oh,
you can just like throw together a little last minute costume for because he wears like extra tall for everything. Um,
yeah.
he's like 6'3" or 6'4" now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's a tall guy. So, but yeah, no, we are, this is, the heart of suburbia. So this is Halloween is like, definitely a big thing around here. Um, I think, when I have clients have had coming in this week, last week, and the week coming, they're all like either anxious about Halloween candy or already being tortured by having Halloween candy in their house. So we can definitely now talk about how to deal with Halloween when you have health and wellness goals because it's really, really hard for people.
Yeah. So, what are you guys doing? Like, okay, for us, I mean, we're in an apartment complex, so we don't really have kids coming by. Um, and honestly, what I'm going to be doing is probably going to my friend who has like two little ones. She's got how old is she now? I don't know in months. Sorry. It's like 2.5. And then the other one is like 1.5 or something like that.
I
So
feel
people
like
are like
after two and
16
a half, you
months.
shouldn't be counting months. You're 2.5.
Well, for the 1.5-year-old, I don't know what that is in months. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just gonna go there and we're gonna go trick-or-treating. So that'll be fun. But for you, I know you're like in a neighborhood and stuff. Like, do you participate in the trick-or-treating process and all that? Handing out
Yeah.
candy?
Oh, yeah. We definitely do lots of trick or treating, and we do tons of fall stuff anyway. Like this weekend, we're doing like hay rides and apple picking and all
Oh,
the things.
fun.
But definitely and I'll have to send you some pictures because I guess, do the leaves change in Cali?
No, I've always wanted to see the leaves change. Oh my gosh.
Can't talk about this. And I was like, it's like
Yeah.
it's cold over here, but we do have beautiful, like fall is beautiful around here. So I'll definitely have to take some pictures and videos for you. But yes, we give out candy. I do have a few tips for people because Halloween used to be like the hardest thing ever for me. I am a chocoholic. I love sweets. Some people love savory. For me,
Yeah.
it's like I love sweets and chocolate. So it took a while for me to master this because y'all, my kids would wake up the next day and I'd be like, oh, you must have miscounted your candy because some of it's gone. You must have thought you had this amount, but really, mommy ate it. So I've mastered that. I do have a little bit of an advantage because I have a peanut allergy. So we give out a
Mm.
lot of peanut candy so that we don't have chocolate that I would eat in the house. Um, so that is helpful. Like we give out like Reese's Pieces and some other like peanutty candy, so I don't eat
I
it.
see.
What I
Right.
will say is definitely one tip is give out candy that you don't like. You don't need to buy candy that you like. We
Yeah.
are programmed to pick out candy that we like or that we think is good candy, but there has to be a candy out there that you don't like. Give that away as long as it's
Yeah.
not Whoppers. That's like a totally disrespectful piece of candy.
Or candy corn. I always
Yeah,
hated
yeah,
getting
yeah.
those. Or that
Don't do
stupid
that.
ass, like, what is a strawberry? Oh, hated those.
Yeah. Don't be the house with the low level candy for sure. But definitely give out candy that you don't like or that you're less likely to binge on. That's like your first thing that you can do. Um, Also, make a rule. You don't need to open the candy until it's time for trick or treaters to come. So keep the
Yep.
candy sealed. No, let me check it out. Make sure it's. I used to be like, they could have put anthrax in the candy. I gotta make sure
Oh
it's
my
safe.
gosh.
Nobody needs you to test the candy for safety. Stop eating it. You don't need to touch it until you're actually giving it out. So that's like the next thing that you can do. The final thing, and there's like tons of stuff that you can do, but the final thing is also make sure that you balance the candy. So I always tell people treat it like you would treat this. I guess only my clients would know this, but I tell my clients when they're eating a bag of chips, right? Take out the amount of chips that you're going to eat, right? And then fold the bag up, put it away, and walk away from it. And do the same thing with that basket of candy. Take out whatever candy it is that you're going to eat and put it away. Okay. And then just like I tell you to do everything else, pair the candy with some level of protein. Make it a real snack if you're going to do it, which is totally okay. Like you're not going to, anybody that has you on a diet where you're never allowed to eat candy again should be imprisoned and arrested. Horrible. You absolutely can eat candy, but I told you my dad used to say everything in life is fine as long as it's done in moderation, and that's absolutely the case. You just can't go crazy with it. So measure it out, hold yourself accountable, make it a fulfilling snack. That's like huge. Make sure that you're hydrating and you're drinking water. Have a game plan in place, like whatever that's going to be. Whether it's okay, well, it's Halloween. I'm only allowed to have 5 pieces of candy. I'm only going to have 3 fun-sized pieces of candy. So that's all I'm going to have. And also keep yourself informed. I challenge you to look at the back. This is depressing, but look at the back of the candy and look at the amount of sugar and calories in it and decide if it's worth it. I'm not saying that to be like condescending, but to really look at it, make an informed decision. Because sometimes you look and you're like, you know what? It don't even taste that good for it to be costing me all this in calories and sugar. So definitely make sure that it is worth your while. So make an informed decision, measure it out, put it away. Ideally have candy that you don't like. And then I think that that's kind of like the best way to do it. I do an extra thing where my kids like to count their candy anyway. It's a tradition, but I definitely do it because I also want to low-key hold myself accountable. Like, like Max knows he has 102.5 pieces of candy. If he goes to sleep and he wakes up and there's 96.4 pieces of candy, you got to explain yourself, Katie. So just don't eat candy. So
yeah. And I think that it's so easy to get lost in the minis. So you're like, oh, I could have a lot of this because it's mini. But if you don't realize how much you're eating, then that can, work against you. So yeah, count how many that you're going to have. Again, it's fine to have it, but you do have to be aware of how much you're taking in. And then like I always see these cute Instagram reels and TikToks of like, oh, you can make a brie, you can make the skull head out of the brie and then make a little charcuterie thing out of it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I see a lot of those suggestions. And so I would say if you're not doing a party or something, I wouldn't make that all for yourself because that's really easy to be like, oh, well, no one else is eating it. I'm going to eat it. So yeah, unless if you're going to bring it to a party or if you're hosting a party, then yeah, go for it. Make all those cute little, TikTok recipes. But otherwise, if it's just going to be you, then I wouldn't suggest it.
Yes. And if you want to feel like you're celebrating with food, which I'm somebody who doesn't think there's anything wrong with that, you can come up with something that you like to eat that maybe isn't candy, right? Like for us, like my mom sometimes visits during Halloween and I like to make hot cider. I like it because I can kind of like nurse on it all night. It's kind of like keeping me busy, keeping me full. So maybe it's something as simple as that, or maybe it's like a fun, relatively healthy Halloween meal that you want to have, that might at least be a little bit of a distraction from all of the candy. So,
yeah.
Because the key is you don't want to feel guilty the next day, right?
Right.
Think to yourself, like, am I going to feel like bad about this tomorrow? And you won't feel bad about it if you plan ahead. So if you decide I'm going to have 5 pieces of candy, then 5 pieces of candy is what it is. I'm not saying it should be 5. Maybe for you, it should be 2. But whatever it is, plan ahead so that you've made it okay. And then pick out some good quality candy.
Yeah.
I'm so picky. I'm like, this has to be quality. I'm only doing X amount of pieces of candy. It's got to be high quality.
Right. And it helps that it's on a Thursday too. So it's not like you can, versus if it was on a weekend, then you'd probably go a little bit more crazy. But that helps as it's on a weekday. So most people have to work the next day. You can't really go that crazy with it.
Exactly. The only final thing that people should know is figure out what you're doing with your leftover candy. Right. Especially if you live in a place that doesn't have a ton of kids. It used to be, and people that are listening, I'm so sorry if this is not accurate, but it used to be that people would like send it to people in the military.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is. Back when I was hospital working, I would just bring it to the hospital and be like, do with it what you will. Because
that's what I was going to suggest.
We'll eat whatever.
Yeah.
Like we're down for whatever usually. But, if you can find something to do with the candy, whether it's like giving it to a friend who maybe didn't do Halloween and who happens to like think of that as a treat or whatever, or even if you have to throw it away. We talked before about how it's okay to waste if it's in the name of your health. That's my philosophy. Whatever you're going to do, have a plan because the candy cannot stay in your house.
Yeah.
Right? You got kids, that's different because they have their little stash of candy. But that candy that you were going to give away that not everybody ate, you need to get it out of your house.
Yeah, if it's accessible, it's going to be easier for you to go through it. So just
you got to
get rid of it.
Thinking about it. It's always there on the table.
Yeah, and don't forget to brush your teeth afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My
As
parents would
somebody who
always
remains
make
sober
sure.
now, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, well, have fun on Halloween. That sounds great. You gotta like send pictures and post that because that sounds so adorable.
I will. I'll show you all the pictures and all the things. And it's funny. Sometime in this weekend, I'm doing a bunch of like mom stuff, but then I'm also going to a friend's tailgate. Um,
Tailgate of what?
so before the Eagles game.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know.
So much, Serena. So before I say that, and you know what? I say that like you should know that the Eagles are playing when like you don't even live here. Like, how would you know? But the Eagles game, so she's having a tailgate. She recently tore her Achilles, so she's having it at her house. Thank goodness. Because a fun fact, I don't care how much I like you, I will not tailgate in the cold. Like if it's cold outside, your girl won't be there. But she's having a tailgate, so I was like trying to think of like what can I bring to this? Like how do I do? So like I think eventually at some point as we get deeper into the fall winter, we'll definitely have to do a little session on football foods and football snacks. So
Oh, yeah.
that's definitely a thing. But yo, your birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
What are you
We're gonna
doing?
go camping we're going camping in Big Sur, which is like, near the coast. Did you watch the show Big Little Lies?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So the main town is Monterey, and then like I think an hour south is Big Sur.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's got like lots of waterfalls and state
ooh.
parks and
You take all the pictures, please. You know I
yeah.
love.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. It's just always so gorgeous. And depending on the weather, too, sometimes it's got like that moody little, like, the fog or the clouds coming over it. So it's going to be
Ooh.
real fun. So it'll just like, yeah, be me and my husband and the dogs. Just wanted to do something more low key because your girl's turning 35. So not really into the whole party scene anymore.
You've been all over the world over the past few months, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
understand wanting to chill.
exactly. So yeah, it'll be fun. But this week kind of just been celebrating with my other friends too. So um I'll mention this later on in the podcast, but yeah, we went to Disneyland
Yeah.
and like on a Tuesday because my other friends, we work in the hospital, so we just requested the day off and then went to Disneyland and I had asked to make reservations at Storyteller Cafe because I had been there for dinner, but not for breakfast. And for breakfast, they have the characters come out. So you got Mickey Mouse and Pluto, Minnie Mouse, Chip and Dale. So super cute. And then they like dress up for autumn because they got like what's called the autumn harvest or something like that. So they're wearing plaid, wearing like fall colors, green, orange. It's so cute.
This sounds like adorable.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like the day after on Wednesday, I went out with some of my other girlfriends to the seafood place, and it was super cute too. Really loved it. It's called Playa Provisions in I guess it's like more Marina del Rey / Playa del Rey, but I just love that town. It's like a little beach town, but it's more of a sleepy beach town. It's not super busy like Santa Monica or the other beaches you would hear of. So that was nice. And
All of
then,
this sounds super fun. Now I'm like, you're always like,
yeah,
hey, come visit. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will. You should have lived with all this
yeah.
stuff.
And the weather's always nice. So no matter what time of year
Yeah,
you come,
right.
yeah. So yeah, it's been fun and low key, just, spending time with, my loved ones and hanging out, not doing anything crazy.
Love that for you. I'm glad that you get to wind down and relax. Now, I'm curious, Serena, from like a business perspective, we don't talk a lot about. We talk a lot about like the drugs and the thing. We don't always talk a lot about like clinics and how they function. But here in Pennsylvania, there definitely is like a huge seasonal component to weight loss, I would say. And I guess my question is like, is there a seasonal component for you guys? Like in the wintertime, will it be a little bit slower and will it pick up in the spring, or does that not happen because it doesn't get as cold? You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a little bit of both because I feel, again, since the weather is always pretty good, we've got people all year round, but I feel like maybe it's a cultural thing too. I feel like people are more self conscious, maybe in LA. Like looks are pretty important here. And then everyone's usually wearing their athleisure or like dressing up versus like, I guess when you're in the East Coast and it gets cold, like you can bundle up and cover up, and like it's less obvious. But here, you're not really bundling up as much. So I have people that are more conscious about they're aware of the holidays coming up and they still want to stay on the medication. They want to keep their weight off because they've been with me for maybe the past year or so. So they're very conscious of like, no, I still want to be on this until like January at least, and then maybe I can consider doing maintenance or something. On the other hand, I have other people that are like, it's kind of hard with finances. Like I've got to think about traveling, I got to think about gifts, etc. So unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna have to like put a pause on the weight loss. And then other people just want to enjoy the food and they want to eat whatever they want. So that's something that I kind of like to tell people to be wary of, is that like with the holidays coming up, you got Thanksgiving and then Christmas usually, then New Year's. So those are 3 big holidays every month. You got November, December, January. So it's easy for you to kind of fall off with those habits. So yeah, it's a little bit of both for me. So
Yeah, and it seems like around the holidays, that's when like you should want to be. That's probably when they would benefit the most from like getting help, consistent help.
right, right. Yeah. So, yeah, we're actually going to do a holiday special with Casey coming up. So he was our dietitian. We're going to talk about how are we going to deal with the holidays, especially when it comes to your diet. So that's something
Yeah,
to look forward to.
He's be dropping that crazy knowledge on us. So he's really going to give us some great tips. I'm looking forward to that. We have another guest returning for our final episode who we'll announce soon, who was definitely a crowd favorite. So that'll also be a really good motivational episode going into the new year. Well, I'm so excited for you. I hope you have the most amazing birthday ever.
Thank you.
You are a person inside and out and totally deserve it.
Thank you. If you guys ever have any questions, of course, or any like guests that that would want to be in the podcast, you could always contact us. Contact at theweightinNPs.com, or our Instagram is at theweightinNPs.
Hello, ladies. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited that we're all here. Due to some scheduling mishaps, we somehow have been able to finally do this. So that's awesome.
Yes. So if you guys remember, we had Sherra back on, I think a few weeks ago, and she was just starting her semaglutide journey. And just a reminder, she works for Lifefire Weight and Wellness. She is a senior medical assistant over there, an office manager. And so, yeah, she'll give us an update on how it's been going and how far along she's been. So the floor is yours, Sherra. Go ahead and you can share your experience.
So excited. I have lost 15 pounds since I've started this.
Woohoo.
It's been incredible. I'm starting to feel myself. I went and got my hair done.
And it looks great.
Endorphins are through the roof. I feel good. I have so much more self-confidence. And I always say I'm a pretty confident person, but it's like the self-confidence that you get when you're starting to see weight come off of you. You're starting to feel good in your skin. You're one of our patients yesterday came in. She's a returning patient, and she was just like, "You look so good." She's like, "Even your skin looks good. You look so beautiful." And my first thought was, well, how did like sheesh. It really does feel good. It feels like, I think, and also with clean eating, drinking more water, being more mindful what I'm putting in my mouth, being more mindful of the water intake, that all plays a part. And it just makes you feel so much more confidence and so good inside. It just feel good. And it's like, even my husband, when I came in yesterday, he was just like, "You are glowing." He's like, "You look really good." And I was like, tell me more. No.
I love that because we know men are sometimes the last ones to notice anything.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So it's been going really well.
Good.
Yay.
Great.
Sarah, can you share with us some of, if there's like any key things that you feel like you've done or changed or removed from your diet that might have led to like your success? Because 15 pounds is super impressive. How many weeks have you been on this?
Started September 7th.
Yeah. So
yeah, not even too much yet, right?
So impressive.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so it's been going good. So a couple of key things. Well, we had the ginger ale challenge.
Oh, yeah. Tell Serena all about it.
Yeah.
So the ginger ale, so I am a avid ginger ale drinker. It's like someone can be drinking like 3 or 4 bottles of water. I'm thinking 3 or 4 bottles of ginger ale. a day. I love ginger ale. We buy it by the case. Well, we did.
If you get
So
sick, Sherra has it on hand. I had the stomach bug one time, and Sherra busted out with a can of ginger ale out of nowhere. Like, I got you.
Ah,
it with me. Like, if you need me for anything, you can definitely got me for ginger ale because I carry it with me. But so in the middle of me recording, Katie goes, "Yeah, we're going to do the ginger ale challenge. No ginger ale for 4 weeks." And I'm like, "That
cold
wasn't
turkey.
that."
Sherra was like, "Who is doing that?"
Not me.
She was looking around the room like, "Says who?"
Like, wait, who's in the room? Did it, and it actually has been going really, really well. Another thing that I am a savory person. I like chips. I like pretzels. I like popcorn. I've cut back on that a lot to the point that I don't even keep it in the house anymore. Like if we go out and we're getting like chips, I may eat like one or two, but I give the rest to like Brian or the baby, and I'm just like I'm not eating it. But even for the most part, we haven't had chips, and then I don't think we haven't had chips in the house for a while. So I cut down on the snacking. That has been, and that has really been a big help, more than I thought it would be. I always knew like snacking and weight loss, like, come on, like we can't do that. But I never realized how much of an effect it could have on how you feel because I don't feel as heavy. I don't feel as bloated. My fingers are not as fat. Like I could put my wedding ring on. So maybe the salt intake was doing something that it should not have been doing. So I never realized how much of an impact that can have. Also, the water intake by increasing. And I just had my follow up with Katie, and I was like, I do horrible with water. But even the little bit that I've done so far, I'm gonna do better, I promise. But even the little bit that I've done so far has really made a difference. And just even flushing out the toxins in my skin. I don't have the breakouts that I was having. I thought I was just having adult acne, and I thought that was just what it is. I'm not having those breakouts anymore. So little things that I've been doing has really made an impact, just even aside from doing the injections, just making some lifestyle changes as I go has really, really created a big difference.
I'm so proud
Awesome.
of you, and your
So,
energy
is it
level.
the medication that you feel is helping as far as the cravings go? Like, has that reduced significantly?
Absolutely, because I call myself a sleepy time eater. I will just find myself snacking and really not even realize that I'm snacking. Like I'll just have
Mhm.
like a bag of popcorn, a bag of chips, and I'm sitting there eating, watching TV, or I'm just sitting there. It's end of the day, everybody's sleeping. I'm just like, whoo, my time now. And I find that I'm not doing that as much. Like now when I'm watching TV, I'm literally just watching TV and I may have like a cup of tea. Or if I'm laying in bed, I may have like a good book now. I'm not really into like just eating and snacking. And that has made a big difference, I think, because of the injections. I definitely feel that way because prior to that, my cravings for snacking was like, it was just a normal part of my everyday life. It was just, it is what it is. I'm going to snack because that's what I want. I don't even hear that noise in my head anymore to go ahead and grab something like feeling like the need to chew or the need to
Yep.
have my hands
Mhm.
doing something. I don't even feel that anymore. So definitely the injections have played a huge part in quieting that food noise.
That's great
That's
because
amazing.
a lot of my patients also complain about what you had just mentioned, food noise. They're just thinking about food all the time. And then, like, even when they're eating a meal, they're already thinking about what am I going to have next? Or they have even what's called food anxiety. They're just like, I need to just have something with me because I'm just afraid if I'm not going to have something to eat. So it's great that you can kind of just relax and be able to enjoy things and just I always tell my patients just be mindful when you're doing something. For example,
Yep.
when you said you're watching TV or something else, like you kind of are just like, oh, let me get something to eat, and then you don't realize how much you are eating because you're distracted by the whatever you're watching, and then the next thing you know, like, oh, the whole bag of chips is done.
Whole
So
bag.
yeah.
Sherra, or rather Zarina. So Sherra and I at our last visit, we're talking about her next sort of phase of this is going to be adding in physical activity. And so I gave her some like ideas of like things that she can do to add in. But I wondered if maybe you could kind of give her some insight too. Her backstory is she used to be more of like a runner. But that's not really conducive to like her mom lifestyle right now. So she, so like, it's busy with a toddler. It's hard. You don't want to, the child care at the gyms is full of germs, etc. So I give her some tips that we'd love to hear what insight you have.
Yeah. So, what I've seen people do, I mean, they've got their kid in the stroller and they're running with that stroller. And it's nice for you to get outside and you can get your running in. Um, and I think that's something you start off with. And then also, if you want to meet up with a friend while you're doing it, maybe if they're not into running, you can just do walks outside and you can catch up with your friend at the same time. And then meanwhile, you're still hanging
Instead
out
of
with your
lunch
little
dates,
one.
do like, let's do a walk, like walking dates.
Mm-hmm.
Which your friends aren't going to want to say no because they don't want to be like that one unhealthy person. So they'll be like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, I know you kind of like to have a program as well. So, yeah, from the last podcast afterwards, like we had talked about, you could do some like Peloton app. Like you don't even need to get the bike, but like if you're into like following a program, you could do the Peloton app, or you could do YouTube. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube that you could follow. I personally liked Blogilates when I was first getting into working out, because before I hated it, like completely hate it. I still do hate it, but now it's like, okay, I need to do it. So it's just something that I accept at this point. But I like it because it's guided. I think the hard part is just like, where do I start? I don't know what to do. So if you like the guiding, then go with an app, and then they make it fun. They got music in the back, and then like they're talking you through it. So even when you just are like, oh, I cannot do these last few reps, like they'll talk you through it. Like you can, you can push through and you'll be fine. So those are other ideas just to get started. But yeah, we don't want you to start intense. We don't want you to just all of a sudden go to CrossFit and do that 3 to 5 times a week. Definitely want you to ease into it.
Hi, girl. We're going to be watching you wheel the patients back in a wheelchair. Talk about come back with me for a B12 shot. So no.
Right. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, starting off with walking too, if that's just something you want to start off for right now, and then eventually add on some strength training, then that's another option. Walking is always, for the most part, pretty easy. And then maybe you want to add some incline, like, oh, I'm going to go up this hill and get my cardio going. So
One of our clients, Sherra, she swears by this YouTube like power walking video that she loves, that she says is so fun. I need to remember the name of it. I'll look when we are back in the office, but she really, really likes it. And that might be something good because it's something you can do like at home, or even like on your break. And like another thing is that it also like is nice and low impact. So that might be something that you can do that'll still kind of like help you get some calorie burn in. And obviously walking outside, although I'll tell you the same thing I've been telling the patients, all my walker patients, I'm like, all right, cool. So you've been walking, that's great. Now tell me, are you a winter walker? Are we walking outside in 30-degree weather? Which some people are. So I would say it's 50-50. Some are like, I don't care if it's cold as long as it's not snowing. I got one girl who was like, I go out in the snow. I don't care. So like, shout out to those people. I personally am not. So you won't see me going on a walk when it's cold outside. And for me, that's a barrier to physical activity. So walking cannot be my exercise of choice because if there's inclement weather, your girl won't be there. And I'll be like, I can't do it. So I have to pick an indoor thing. And if that's the case for you, or if you just simply don't want to take the baby out when it's cold, I suggest coming up with some type of wintertime contingency plan so that you still stay like on a roll while it's cold out. I just realized how incredibly geographical some of this advice is because Serena's like, snow?
yeah, I didn't think about
No,
that.
winter storms? What's this? Serena looking like, I don't know what they're talking about. Snow, bad weather.
Can't relate. But I mean, that's why I like going to the gym, because like even if it's raining outside, then I go to the gym. But I understand that's not something everyone likes to do. So again, and then if you're into classes, if that's something you would like to attend, like you can do Pilates or yoga or yeah, any of those group classes, Zumba even. So
I love the YouTube videos. I think I want to start doing that. I can do those early in the mornings when it's like everybody's kind of relaxed and chilled and still asleep. If I can get up a little bit earlier, 15, 20 minutes, I think that'd be great. Even though, so my dad and the little one, my little guy, they were doing weights. So he had his little bowling pins and my dad had his weights and they're both going like this.
Oh.
Dad started doing push-ups and he gets down and he's just lifting his head up back and forth.
Oh my gosh, that's too cute.
And he's just like down and out. It's so funny. I took a video
So
from
adorable.
So I said, he'll probably join me if he decides to pop up during that time.
Well, and that's the nice thing when you're doing like a workout in the living room. They're running around like causing chaos, but you still somehow come out and get the workout done because you're like in your own space as opposed to like being somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think that's good for them to see when they're young because they're like, okay, mommy's working out, then they're gonna understand that's something that's important, and it won't be so difficult like when they go to school and they got to do PE. Because like I never saw my parents work out, so that's why I was like, why do you have to do this? Like I hate I hate PE, I hate running, hate all this. So I think that's good.
The way that you act about your workout has an effect on things because, as you guys know, I have a strong aversion to the gym. And my parents were pretty healthy growing up, but I just can always remember my mom kind of like complaining about how she had to go to the gym, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And she would wear workout clothes a lot, probably in retrospect because she was like putting off going to the gym all day, right? Which I've done before. I've been, you know what I mean? And so it's just like interesting. Like I don't like the gym, but maybe I have like negative feelings about it because growing up, everybody did it, but they didn't feel like it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're setting such a good example for your baby and for everybody else in your life, including your parents, including your husband, because something about watching other people like do all the things makes you want to do all the things. And baby Brian's going to grow up to be like, oh, like I want to be healthy. The other day I wanted to chill and Max is so used to seeing me work out. It was Saturday and I was thinking this might be a rest day for me. Max is like, Mommy, it's 12 p.m. What are you doing for your workout? You haven't done it yet. And you usually do it in the morning. I was like, okay. So now I have to so he was like, why don't we do a run? And so we did, but like that's the thing, like he calls me out on it because his norm is like on Saturday mornings he's used to seeing Mommy work out. So that'll be the same for your baby. What'd you say? You cut out, I couldn't hear you.
So I'm gonna tell him, go have a snack.
Yeah, don't bother me. Like this is my day off.
I felt bad. I felt like telling him no to working out was like saying no, you can't eat vegetables. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, yeah, let's go work out. Even though I was like, oh, of course you remember.
Yeah. I also wanted to kind of touch on the other points that you had mentioned last time we were talking. You said that you're a social drinker and that it's difficult for you to kind of figure out what is it that I like to drink. So any changes with that?
Yeah, so Brian he bought this case of like these iced teas. And I said, Brian, this is like malt liquor. Like you're trying to give me a belly. So we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put these aside. So I had him buy me like some like vodka. And then I got the iced sparkling water, like flavored sparkling water. And I've just been doing that. And the good thing about it is like before it was like, oh, I'm gonna have a glass of wine at night, or we're gonna go out and have a glass of wine and maybe like a drink or something like that. The good thing about it is because when you're in that mindset of losing weight, you find that there are certain things that you become aware of of yourself doing. So it's like now I'm so much more aware and in tune with what I'm doing. So it's like I don't even do it as much. So it's like even if I go out to dinner, I'm like, I'll just take some lemon water. I'm good with that. Or it's like, or if I do have a drink, I'll get something light and I don't even finish the glass. So it's just like it's definitely been like some change. Or even if I like go home at night and it's been like a long day and I'm like, oh, a glass of wine would be so good. And I'll just have maybe like a couple sips and then I'll put it, like I'll cover it and put it back in the fridge. And Ryan's just like, what is going on right now? And I'm like, I don't want it. So it's so weird. So it's like sometimes I'm like, yes, I'm gonna have my glass of wine. I'm gonna get my sips in. But then it was like by the time I'm a couple sips in, I'm just like, all right, I'm good. Like I've had my taste of it. And even going out, it's just like I'm really literally just holding it. I find myself just holding it. Just as I'm talking and walking around and like, having fun in the room. but I'm not really like, I'm holding that one drink and then I'm putting it down. And then by the end of the night, I'm just like, okay, I've had a couple sips of the one drink that I had, and it's different. It's definitely different. Definitely not my usual. So, but it's like you're so in tune with what you're doing and how it can affect your weight loss. And it's like, do I want that? And I'll make decisions like, do I want this drink or do I want those piece of ice? Just like, or do I want this drink or do I want whatever charcuterie they got up in there that I probably shouldn't be eating?
Love charcuterie.
Love charcuterie. So
And
it's like
is that more so because you're getting full easily, or you're kind of just like, I gotta be more mindful of like what I'm choosing to eat?
I think it's being more mindful. So because it's just like I don't want to, I'm at the point now where I don't want to drink my calories. Like I don't give myself a lot of leeway to snack. So if I'm out and I see something that I want, like a good old charcuterie, it's like I is one or the other. Like I can't do both. So even if I have like a couple sips, I'm not gonna drink this whole drink because I want some of that charcuterie. I want some of that cheese and crackers and meats. Like I want that. I want some olives. So it's like I'm not going to double my calories, and then I'm fighting off double the inches or double the whatever the weight gain or whatever happens. I don't want to fight off double when I've come so far, and I still have a ways that I want to go. So it's just making more mindful, impactful decisions. Still love a great drink. I still love, a nice glass of wine. That hasn't changed. It's just being more mindful that this decision that I make is going to go to my stomach because that's where I gain weight. And I do not feel like dealing with that right now. So just being more mindful of my decisions.
I'm so proud of you that you're okay with like putting stuff in the fridge and not. I feel like sometimes we feel like we don't want to waste things. Even me, like when I'm out, if I pay $30 for a drink sometimes, which I did at the airport once, but don't judge me. But I'm paying that much for a drink. I'm like, oh, I can't waste this. But like, no, learning to be like, it's okay to just not finish it. The world isn't gonna the world isn't gonna explode if you do that. And even if you do have like overarching guilt about maybe having the opportunity to eat and other people in other parts of the country don't, the children of Africa are not getting your leftover food, right? And all you're doing is increasing your risk for like diabetes or for not losing the weight or for, you know what I mean? Like you're not helping anybody by forcing yourself to finish your food. But I know Zarina and I have talked about this before because even culturally, she was saying in Filipino culture, that's oftentimes the case where you feel like you need to like finish your food. And I know in Jamaican culture and even Black American culture, there's this like, don't waste, finish your plate, don't waste that, etc. Or like you're feeling rude if you don't finish it. So I'm really proud of you that you're able to be like, you know what, I'm going to have a sip and I'm going to put it away.
Yep.
I'll have it later or I won't have it at all. Do you know what I mean? And thinking about your why, like I'm out because I want to socialize, not because I wanted to like taste this beverage.
And people like they feel like they have to eat everything because they're going out and maybe a treat. And I'm like, I can take this treat home. I can cut it in half. I get to eat half now and take the rest of that treat home for tomorrow because leftovers are wonderful. Even when it comes to the drink, a lot of places now are letting you take your drinks home. So it's like if I take a sip now, I can get a to-go cup, pour it in there, and I can take that home. Even when I'm home and I'm drinking something, I'll put aluminum foil over it just to cover it so I can leave whatever is in it. Because I feel like if I don't cover it, then like the alcohol is going to somehow evaporate out of it. And so I'll just cover it and I'll put it in the fridge, even when it comes to food. And I stop even forcing the baby to eat everything on his plate. I let him eat as much as he wants to eat. And if he stops eating, I'll take his food now and I'll put it away. I don't, because at first I was like, no, you have to finish what's on. That's how I was taught. You have to finish what's on your plate. You're not getting up from this table until you finish what's on your plate. So I've even stopped doing that with him because I don't want him to get some type of attachment to food or feel like he has to eat everything. And then like it becomes issues down the road. Eat what you want to eat. I'll put the rest of your food. If you get hungry later, I'm not fixing nothing else. You're going to eat that food that was in the fridge. I'll take that back out, heat it up, and that's what you're going to eat. But I don't force them to eat it all at one setting. So it does make you think a little bit more about food.
Yeah, and I think those habits are so hard to undo because you've grew up the whole time just thinking that way, and same as me and I think everyone else, and just listening to your body. Like if you're full, like this happened to me the other day. I was at this buffet actually in Disneyland. It's called Storytellers Cafe and super
Alley
cute. Like it's a
life,
yeah.
roll into Disneyland.
Yeah, on a Tuesday. So yeah, the characters come out. It's super cute. And like, I just listen to my body because you want to try every single thing that's out there. But I was like, you know what? I'm actually getting pretty full after this one plate. And then I shared everything else with my friends and they were also pretty full too. So it's like, all right, let's split the omelet. Let's split the dessert. And it was fine because you got to try it, but then it's not like you're forcing yourself to eat everything. And then even then I still had some leftovers on my plate because I was like, I'm not going to force myself to eat all this.
Mm,
So yeah, it's just very important to listen to yourself. And I'm glad you're doing that and doing that with your kid too, because you're instilling good habits. Like I said, he's
such a
watching
good
you work out,
mom.
watching you eat and lose weight. So I think that's amazing to start that off now.
So now I'm going to give like a trigger warning because I'm about to ask about some number stuff, right? So our question for you has to do with side effects. So what dose are you on? How have your side effects changed? Are you having any side effects? Like how are you feeling on the drug? Give us some pros and cons and what you're thinking is going to happen next, like dose wise.
So I'm feeling very, very minimal side effects. I think the most I can say is some slight nausea. And I find though that when I do feel nauseous, if I eat something, like I may eat some protein, like a protein bar, or I may eat like some chicken strips or something like that. When I eat something, that nausea kind of goes away. So it's not even anything that's like, oh, I can't do
Mm,
this or I can't do that because it's not like that. It's very, very slight nausea, but it goes away if I eat something. Right now, I'm currently at 20 units, and it's going well. I haven't had, other than the slight nausea, I haven't really had any other side effects. Um, and it's been good. It's actually a good dose. I feel like the cravings decrease. I feel like the first week that I was on, that I started at 20, felt like the cravings were still there, like that I wanted to eat in that first week. But then I felt like later on, like maybe the weeks 2 or 3, it wasn't like that. It wasn't as
mm.
strong as it was. So it just became more like background noise that I could kind of ignore. Um, so it's been going really good.
Could you translate, Katie? What is 20 units in milligrams?
Yes, so 20 units is zero 0.5 milligrams. So this is typically the next dose increase after that first dose, which might be 10 units or 0.25 milligrams, that one that you do for the first 4 weeks, that kind of where most people don't really feel much.
Mhm.
After you do those 4 weeks, we usually increase you, is kind of the standard of care, I would say. You get increased to 0.5 milligrams or 20 units. So she's kind of at like stage 2 of the semaglutide dosing process, I would say.
Okay, got it. Awesome. And then usually when you get up to point 0.5, that's when my clients do notice more of the effects of the medication. Because I mean, it doesn't seem like it's true for you when you were on 0.25 milligrams, which is the initial dose. But some of
Mhm.
my clients say like, oh, I didn't feel anything, which is kind of, I guess, a good thing as far as side effects. They didn't feel the nausea, but they also didn't feel the appetite suppression. So they were still eating the same portions and maybe still had the cravings. But then I try to remind them, like, just stick it out because the 0.25 milligrams is considered non therapeutic. So it's just priming your body, similar to like the COVID vaccine. Like the first shot is supposed to just prime you, and then the second one is supposed to like have the effects of the protection. So similar to the low dose. Like, were you feeling the effects when you were trying it for the first month of the
I felt
semaglutide?
effects right away. Like that first 10 units, those first 3 weeks, it felt great. Like when I tell you I had zero food noise, I had zero food noise. Like I had to really remind myself to eat something. There was one day that I realized I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't really ate since breakfast, but I still wasn't hungry. So I was like, I
Mhm.
had to make myself eat. I felt good. It wasn't until the fourth week that I started to feel hungry again and feel the cravings again. And that was like when it was around time to increase. But those first 3 weeks were, yes, they were.
Mhm.
It felt so good. Those it was gone. The cravings were literally gone.
Yeah, yeah. And then I just wanted to like also tell the listeners, like for some people like yourself, Shara, you get that food noise that goes away. So you don't even think about food at all. And therefore you're not eating anything. But that's not for everyone. Like some people will still feel hungry, and that's completely normal to feel hungry. But what we're looking for is that when you're eating your meal, you're getting full off of like half. So like say you eat a sandwich, you're just gonna like eat half of it, and you're like, I can't even finish this whole thing, and normally you would have like when you were off the medication.
It's
um
so true because when I increased, that's what started to happen. It's like I would still feel hungry. Like I went out for tacos and I was just like, oh, I haven't really eaten since lunch. I'm going to tear through these tacos. And I only ate one and then I was full. So
oh
it was
wow.
just like, it was so, I don't know why my body's always so backwards, but it was just like, so it was like the 10 units, I felt nothing. Then the 20 units, I was just like, wait, I'm hungry, but I can't eat
Yes.
as much when I'm hungry. So it was it's so weird. But it was like it feels like I what I like about that though, I like the feeling of being hungry because one, it reminds me to eat. And two, it helps me make the right decisions because I can't be on a medication forever. So I need to make lifetime or lifestyle changes while is easy. So this teaches me, it's like a teaching tool almost. It's teaching me how to eat. So when I'm hungry, I don't have to go for, what I usually go for, which is like chips, pretzels, pizza. I don't have to go for that. I can go for the snack wraps and be satisfied. I love wrapping lettuce and like chicken and lettuce, grilled
Mm-hmm.
chicken and lettuce wraps. Oh my God, it's so good. So I can go for that and feel okay with that. I can go for like a naked taco and feel okay with that. So it's teaching me how to eat healthy and enjoy it. Because one thing I always say is that a diet is cool, but if I don't enjoy what I'm eating, is not going to
It's a
be long
waste of
lasting.
calories. I always
Yeah.
tell you, don't eat nasty
It's
food.
like if I'm like dieting just to lose weight, but I'm not like I hate the diet, I it's not going to last for me. I'll do it for up until I need to stop, and then I stop it, and then I go crazy. It's happened
Mm-hmm.
way too many times, so I know me enough to know that. So this is helping me enjoy because I'm not getting like, okay, you have to eat this, and this, and this. It's like these are the changes that you need to make. Make them accordingly, and so it's helping teaching me how to eat, and that's what I really really love about the program that I'm doing.
That's awesome. We want you to learn those lifestyle habits because that'll take you when you get off the medication, and that's something that you got to learn now, and then it'll be easier for you when you get off the medication. It's not going to be a diet because you've already incorporated these changes. So it's
And it's
just
exactly why doing like a medical weight loss program is so helpful because unfortunately, the truth of the matter is you could be on semaglutide and eat like crap, but eat really small amounts of crap because you're not that
mhm.
hungry anymore. But the minute you come off the drug, you're going to regain all the weight because you were just eating a bite of a hamburger, but now your appetite's back. So you're going to eat 3 burgers or whatever. So by doing like all these lifestyle changes, making these changes that might seem small, but they're huge, right? Like not drinking ginger ale is huge. It really is going to make a difference because what you're doing every time you do that is you're starting to form habits. And as you create these habits, you're going to find that a lot of this is just going to be on like automatic. All these awesome things that you've been doing. Even when you start your workout routine, it's going to feel so hard the first few weeks. Then you're going to be like, oh, this is like just what I do. So I'm so excited for this new you, this new stage of Sherra.
Yes.
Your confidence is amazing. Your energy level is Rita. We were in Delaware today, and I was so proud of myself because I woke up early, and I get like weirdly competitive about things. I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna beat Sherra today." So don't ask. I never do. I never do. It's like I'm gonna surprise Sherra, and I'm gonna get to Delaware before she did. She's gonna be like, "Oh, Katie's still on the highway," but really, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
And I got there, and Cheryl was already there. Not only was she already there, she was already there. Hair was freshly curled, big bright smile. She was hydrating, about to drink her tea, all energetic. Knew the schedule for the day. I'm like, okay, Cheryl, I'm there. It's so impressive to see. She's like glowing, and her energy is contagious. It's amazing.
I love that. Yeah, you could definitely tell. Like if you feel better like inside, like it's gonna emanate to everyone else. You're gonna have good energy, good vibes, and that's like aside from just weight loss, like it really helps with your confidence, and it helps how you feel with the self esteem. So yeah, I'm so happy that's working for you in so many different ways. And then I just wanted to ask too, like we had talked about, you like to eat out, especially with your toddler. Like, how has that been now that you're on the medication?
So with him, I'm learning. I'm learning for a couple reasons to keep. We'll eat at home with him. One, because he don't know how to act sometimes when we're out. He likes to show off in front of company. So with him, I tend not to take him out as much. So when I do go out, and this is just like having some me time as well as some time with Brian, is so it's just like when we do go out, we tend to not bring him anymore, just so we can have a little bit of. That's the one thing I'm learning. Sorry, I have to back up because my thoughts are like going 1,000 miles a minute. But just one thing I'm learning too is to carve out time for yourself and to carve out time to make yourself happy, to build more time. Like if you're married or you have a significant other, to spend more time with that person and to do things outside of the baby.
Yeah.
Because it started with me, and then it was me and my husband, and now it's me, my husband, and baby. But sometimes you forget all about the first two people, and his focus is on the third person, the baby.
Yeah.
So this has helped me in a weird sort of way to carve out time. So when it comes to the baby, I call my parents. I'm like, hey, are you guys busy? Would you like your grandchild? Take them for like a couple hours, maybe an hour or two, and then me and Brian will go out to dinner. Or out. I've been out by myself. I went to the bar by myself, and I just sat at the bar
Nice.
a grilled chicken salad, and I was having a grand old time.
Because I'm sure that's rare. You don't get that often.
It doesn't happen often, but it was nice to do. So one thing I'm learning on this journey, and it's really truly has been a journey because it's opening up doors to stuff that you don't think about when you're doing like a weight loss. You don't think about how you treat yourself. You don't think of other outside of food. I mean, you don't think about how you know what's going on in your family life outside of food. But because you're starting to take the time for yourself in one way, it translates into other things if you're taking the time for yourself in other things. So when it comes to the baby now, he does not go out to dinner. It's very, very rare, unless we're doing like a big family thing, then of course he'll come. But for the most part now, we try to spend time on ourselves. And even Brian, I say, if you want, like, he went to the barbershop yesterday and he had his fun at the barbershop. And I was just like, yeah, take time for you. And that's the first time he's been to the barbershop in a few months. And I'm like, take time for you. Like, we have to take time for ourselves. And
Yeah.
you're looking a little rough, son.
Like, you want more date nights, you gotta clean yourself up here. Yeah. I'm cleaning myself up. You better clean yourself up too.
Here now. You gotta match my energy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fair.
He had a good time. He was smiling. So it's like we're learning through this journey to make time for ourselves. Like, we're individuals, we're a couple, we're a family, but we have to really enjoy each of those moments. And so it's weird. It's weird how this has opened up so many, because it's unexpected. I shouldn't say weird, but it's unexpected how this has opened up so many other avenues, or how this has made us think about other aspects of our lives.
Right, because it's probably, you're thinking about yourself, like in this weight loss journey, like this is for you, but then it's also making you available, and it's an investment. It's an investment in your kid, investment in your relationship with your husband. It just helps out in so many ways. So when you're focusing on yourself, that's why it's so important when people say self-care, and sometimes you're just like, whatever, like, okay, self-care, I'll get a massage or something, but it means so many other things. You have to fill your cup and to fill other people's cups too. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad
again, you are leading by example. Like, I'm telling you, we're gonna watch Brian, big Brian, not baby Brian, is gonna low-key start having his own health and wellness changes just because he's gonna be watching you. He might not even realize it himself, but the things that you do start to affect everybody else, right? Have you ever like wanted to eat a bag of chips next to somebody who's eating like carrots and hummus? It don't feel right, right? You're like, yeah, no, I don't even want to eat my chips in front of her because she got, you know what I mean? And it's the same type of energy at home and even around like your peers, is that people are going to start matching your energy, which I love for you. So Sherra, in summary, can we kind of quickly tick through what your current goals are right now? Tell us.
So weight loss wise, I want to lose 20 more pounds. I also want to increase my water intake. I want to start working out. Right now, the goal is 20 minutes per week, but I want to steadily increase that.
Yep.
Also, my goal is to start fitting more into like start buying new clothes to like kind of because I don't want to dress in the same clothes that I wore. And I'm always this person, like I don't buy clothes till I meet my goal. But I'm at a point now that I don't want to wear those clothes anymore. I actually want to throw them out because I don't ever want to go back to them. So it's like my goal is to do some spring cleaning early. Because it's like I want to throw these clothes out. I don't want to have them in my closet as like safekeeping. Maybe if I get bigger again and I have to wear them again. No, those clothes are, I want to throw them out. So we're going to do some spring cleaning. That's happening over the next couple weekends and just not have them in the house anymore and not have them anymore because I don't want to go back there. So that's one of my goals. Another goal is so my big goal is when in February, I do a girls trip every February. This year we're going to Mexico. And I don't know if I mentioned the last podcast, but this past February when we went, I was the biggest one on the trip. And I felt so uncomfortable. And it's not like my friends made me feel uncomfortable. They were fine. They were like, yeah, girl, take your pictures. But I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. And I didn't like the way I look in my pictures. This is the first trip I've ever taken where you will not find a single picture of that trip online or on my social media or anywhere. I did not post anything from that trip. So this February, I want videos. I want pictures. I want everything that I did not do last time on this trip. That is like one of my big goals is to go on this trip and be like, I'm here. I have arrived. Let's take these pictures.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Like my ultimate goal for February. And then from February onward, keep making these lifestyle changes. Every April prior to the baby, I ran a 5K, the hot chocolate run. I ran it every April. I want to run it again this coming April. So I want to keep giving myself goals going forward so that I don't stop. Because I feel like if you don't give yourself a goal, then eventually you'll stop. Like right now, I'm working towards February. It's all about February. I need to work till March now. So from February come, I'm gonna work till April so I can do the hot chocolate run. We're supposed to go for our belated anniversary trip. We're going to Greece in May. So now I got to prepare for Greece. So
got
like
look forward to.
I got some goals so that I can keep this going.
Yes. I do have one favor to ask though. Could you keep like one of your jeans? Because I love seeing those pictures when you are, when you've lost the weight and then you do like look at how much, fat I lost.
Funny thing is, I will keep the jeans that I have been wearing, and I've never even told anyone this, but the jeans that I have been wearing were the jeans that I wore for my maternity. I could not fit into my regular jeans that I've had. I have not been able to fit into them. So the jeans that I have been wearing since 2021 from up until now were maternity jeans because I couldn't get into my smaller jeans. So now I have those smaller jeans. I'm like looking at them. I'm like, I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming for y'all. So I'll keep the maternity though. I'll keep one pair of my maternity jeans. And that way when I get into my smaller jeans again, I'm like,
Yeah. Especially if you wear the same exact clothes that you wore from whenever you took your pictures. Like it's always so satisfying to see the before and after. So
I can't wait. I can't wait.
yeah. Oh, and then another thing I wanted to suggest, I use this app called Runkeeper. I think that's what it's called. When I was running a half marathon, but you can change your goals. So if you wanted to run that 5K next year, just put the date of when you're doing it, and then it'll create this customized schedule. Especially if you haven't been running, so you can like slowly get back into it because it's hard to just train, and then it gives you a really like it even asks you how often do you run. So it really customizes a schedule for you. That way you can like ease back into it and then you'll be ready for that 5K.
I need that. Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm
amazing.
so excited for you. All right, Sherra, we definitely want to have you back on the show soon because people are dying for updates. When the clients come in, they're like, how's Sherra doing? I watched one client back and she was like, wait, I thought Sherra was going to walk me back. I had to ask her about the podcast.
Oh.
So they love you and it's inspiring so many people. It's so cool to see. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Sherra.
Thank you, Katie, for starting this and getting me involved in this and hiring me so I can see everything that I was missing. Like, so thank
Of
you.
course. You are a joy to have, as you know. I love having you on board for Lifefire, and you are just such an inspiration. I'm so grateful to have you.
Yeah.
You have a
Thanks for
wonderful
sharing your story.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, and share with your family and friends who might find it helpful.
And remember, we love hearing from our listeners. Connect with us on our social media channels or shoot us an email with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future topics. Don't forget to check out our website, www.thewayinandpeace.com, and to follow us on Instagram at thewayinandpeace.
If you need one-on-one help with your weight loss or wellness journey, book a private consultation with us. The A-List Clinic can be reached at www.thealistclinic.com or on Instagram and TikTok at The A-List Clinic.
And my clinic, Lifefire Weight and Wellness, can be reached at www.lifefireweight.com or on Instagram and TikTok at LifefireWeight.
Thanks again for tuning into the Wayne Podcast with your hosts, Katie and Zarina. Until next time, take care and be well.
The information in this podcast is for general information only. It is not intended as medical advice and should not be relied upon as a substitute for medical consultation with a qualified medical provider familiar with your medical needs.